Hello, and welcome to today's Chamber Chat. My name's Carrie Randolph, and I'm the Executive Director of Chattanooga 2.0. We work across sector to ensure that our children and youth receive a quality education and career opportunities that help them realize their full potential. One of our key focus areas is creating viable pathways to prosperity, the education, connections, and supports to thriving wage career paths for our young people. We're excited to host this discussion as part of National Apprenticeship Week. 1 year ago, during National Apprenticeship Week, we gathered at UNM to announce the selection of our community as an Apprenticeship Innovation District under a new Apprenticeships Building America grant from the U.S. Department of Labor. But more importantly, to publicly announce our goals to expand existing apprenticeships and create new innovative ones to address local workforce needs and to connect more Hamilton County, Chattanooga residents and students to thriving wage career pathways. A lot of living, working, planning has occurred over the last year. Today's Chamber Chat will underline how important this work is for our community and share exciting updates in service of the initial goals we set. On Monday, we publicly launched Apprenticeship Works, a one-stop shop for apprentices and employers interested in starting or expanding work-based learning programs like apprenticeships in our community. You'll hear more about this work today. Apprenticeship Works is our community's way of tackling work-based learning and apprenticeships as a workforce development and talent strategy, cross-sector and collaboratively. Under the leadership of our county and city Mayors Wamp and Kelly, and in alignment with their commitment to improving the workforce system and increasing opportunity and access in our community, in addition to our school superintendent, Dr. Justin Robertson, and the school system's focus on expanding work-based learning, including pre-apprenticeship models for our students, and Chattanooga 2.0's work to increase post-secondary attainment and the number of young adults in thriving wage career paths, and through the generous support of the Benwood Foundation, we have true cross-sector partnership and commitment to learn and earn models for our community. In April, we formed the Apprenticeship Steering Committee for Hamilton County, Chattanooga. In monthly meetings, we set goals and metrics, discuss challenges and opportunities, and work together to build the ecosystem needed to expand and create apprenticeships across our community. The Apprenticeship Works Steering Committee is a coalition of businesses, local government, schools, nonprofits, foundations, and community partners that have come together around a single objective: expanding and strengthening the apprenticeship ecosystem in Hamilton County and Chattanooga. Each organization and individual have come to the table with time, resources, support, or staff even, to ensure we live up to the full potential of this grant opportunity over the next 4 years. We have 3 goals: strengthen the entire apprenticeship and work-based learning ecosystem in our community, expand existing pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship opportunities, and add new and innovative pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship opportunities. This is personal for me. My grandfather was a welder and a machinist, and he learned his trade as an apprentice at Ford in the 1950s. He learned on the job while supporting his family. When he came back home to Tennessee from Detroit, he had effectively moved his family, my family, into the middle class. The apprenticeship model, in which a novice learns through on-the-job training, is the ultimate applied learning experience and has stood the test of time. The word apprentice often makes us think of skilled trades like my grandfather's and learning over the shoulder of an expert. But what if we applied that model and expanded it to include the technical roles of today? That's part of the focus of our Apprenticeship Works initiative. We are expanding existing apprenticeships, as I've mentioned, but we're launching new ones in non-traditional apprenticeable areas such as IT, including software developer, web developer, digital marketing specialist, cybersecurity, customer relations, data analyst, payroll specialist, and other high-need sectors. Applying the apprenticeship model in tried and true as well as new ways is allowing us to leverage the skills and expertise of our local communities and industries to develop the workforce our businesses need for today and tomorrow. And we are creating more pathways to the middle class for our community, connecting our residents to jobs and economic opportunity. The modern apprenticeship model is versatile and can quickly adapt to the future needs of new employers and industries. Apprenticeships can build a diverse and resilient workforce that can bridge the skills gap facing current employers. Apprenticeships empower people to advance or switch their careers through paid on-the-job learning and training instruction that leads to industry recognized credentials. So that's a quick introduction, but I'm thrilled to have two experts on apprenticeships here with us today. First, to my left, we have Baleen Francisque. She is the Digital Marketing and Media Coordinator at Seven Management. She lives in Washington, D.C., and she was a rock star apprentice. She's now a full-time employee, and we're excited to have her experience and wisdom on our panel today. And we'll hear more from Baleen in just a second. To her left, we have Christina Henderson, the Director of Talent Development for the Chattanooga Chamber. Christina has worked across the workforce development pipeline as a high school teacher, and a job with an employer who developed and hosted apprentices. And now in her role at the Chamber, she works with businesses and post-secondary partners to support workforce development in our community, and that includes apprenticeships. So to kick us off today, I'm going to turn to each of you and have you just talk a little bit about your connection to the apprenticeship works. So Christina, I'm going to start with you. I gave a quick introduction, but would you add to that introduction and tell us a little bit about your professional and personal connections to work-based learning and apprenticeships? And I'll also note that Christina is a member of the Apprenticeship Works Steering Committee. So thank you for your service there.
Yeah, so like Carrie said, I was a high school English teacher for 6 years in Hamilton County Schools. During that time, I got the opportunity to serve as the work-based learning coordinator for my high school. And that experience was super exciting for me to see students that were able to take what they were learning in the classroom through their career and technical education courses and then apply it on the job with local area employers. During that time, I was able to make connections with local employers myself, which ultimately led to me leaving teaching, moving into human resources, where I was working at a local manufacturer. And there we were able to build out a work-based learning program along with 5 apprenticeship programs, all of which are in the traditional skilled trades model. So, yeah.
Great. Thanks, Christina. Okay, Baleen, thanks for being here today and being in Chattanooga. We really appreciate it. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey as an apprentice to where you are today?
Okay. Well, my name is Baleen. I am from Boston, Massachusetts, but I went to school in D.C., so now I reside in D.C. I've stayed there for the past 7 years or so. I graduated from college actually with a health management degree, and I ended up in healthcare administration. And that's when I realized that this is just not the place for me. This is not the job for me. I don't want to be here anymore. So I would even spend time during my actual job researching other jobs so I can leave as soon as possible. And I stumbled upon Build Within. At first, I did not know what an apprenticeship was, actually. When I had applied, I thought it was an internship. And I said, you know what? Whatever it takes to get out, I'm going to do it anyway. So I applied, and when I went to the interview, that is when they told me about the apprenticeship and how they will help me get into the career field that I want to be in. I did express to them that I want to do design, I want to do marketing, and they said, hey, like, we have a program that'll allow you to learn those new skills while also still getting you paid. So you won't be giving up your income just to go learn. And that's how I kind of ended up stumbling upon apprenticeships, and that's how I ended up here today.
That's awesome. We're thrilled to hear. And Build Within is the software platform that's available in our community that really streamlines the apprenticeship process. And it's how we got these 20 new kind of innovative roles. So thank you for mentioning that. Okay, Christine, I have a question for you. So you've been involved in different aspects, as you mentioned, of the apprenticeship ecosystem, employer, educator, and now working with business and industry on workforce development. What are the top line value propositions for employers in establishing and supporting apprenticeships?
I mean, to me, I think the biggest benefit to an employer is that it builds employee loyalty. So when you have an apprenticeship program and you've told an individual, here's the pathway for you within our company, here are the skills we're going to teach you, here are the different experiences you're going to receive, and where you'll be at the end of this pathway. I think that builds a loyalty that you can't replicate really through just traditional recruiting methods. I think when you see an employer that's taking the time and energy to invest in their workforce like that, I think like that is a really special environment. One of the other benefits that I've seen is that it also reinvigorates your existing workforce. So when you are pairing an apprentice with a journeyman, like that individual who then gets the opportunity to share everything they know with a new person, right? Like you see people who have been in the workforce just getting excited about what they do again and realizing like, oh, I'm the person with all of the knowledge here that I'm getting to share and grow new talent. Not to mention, I guess, we could talk about cost savings. It's also more cost effective for employers to hire and train their own talent.
No, thank you for that. And I mean, I know we know from personal experience locally, we've heard from employers, but the research shows that there is a huge retention factor with apprentices. So thank you for that. Okay, Billeen, as an apprentice or former apprentice, you're not an apprentice anymore, but okay,
but it's
right,
okay.
right. What do you see as the most significant value for apprentices? So not for employers necessarily, although feel free to add to Christina's remarks, something that gets overlooked in other training and workforce preparation strategies.
Well, for an apprentice, I feel like I just have to emphasize this, and I feel like we all emphasize it. You're earning while you're learning, okay? Like you're still making money while learning new skills that you're directly using into your new career path. That's the difference between other workforce or on-training programs, is that in that moment that I am in my actual field, I'm also still learning that skill that helps me in that field. So I would be doing any courses and using them in that specific moment directly. So yeah.
Love it.
Okay. All right, Christina. At the National Apprenticeship, we kick off event on Monday. We heard from Taylor Hall, who's founder of Datably, about his company's decision to make the apprenticeship model a staple of their talent development strategy. But what are your thoughts on smaller and medium businesses utilizing the apprenticeship model? I think we often associate it with big employers sometimes. Can you speak to how apprenticeship as a talent strategy relates to the size of the company and their plans to grow?
Yeah, I would say historically it probably was more feasible for your larger employers. Increasingly, I think across the country, but in Tennessee, we've seen our government really investing in career and technical education and then in apprenticeships as well. And I think programs like Build Within make it more feasible for your smaller companies because you're not having to create curriculum, you're not having to create the on-the-job proficiencies on your own. So all of the different pieces and components of an apprenticeship, now we have resources that can help a small employer pick up and become an employer of an apprentice, which in the past it would have been tough. Yeah.
So it simplifies some of the bureaucracy, or
I mean, I think it simplifies the bureaucracy, but truly just the day-to-day responsibilities of an apprenticeship program, right? Is that like you have a mentor on the job, but the fact that you have to come up with all of that related training instruction and like Build Within, all of that curriculum exists, online platform, easy to access, that the supervisors can get on and look at it real time. An apprentice can get on there, and I guess you used Build Within, so you can kind of speak to the pieces of that, but that like you can be uploading what you've been learning or working on. Your supervisors can look at it, and so it's like communication is happening really quickly. Yeah.
Thanks for that. Okay, Billeen, please tell us briefly about, and Christina kind of alluded to this with the on-the-job training and related technical instruction that's a part of the apprenticeship, but can you tell us briefly about your day-to-day experience as an apprentice?
Well, okay. So from my experience, because my career field and my job was a little different than most apprenticeships or most career paths, where everybody would have a strict 9 to 5 usually. With my career field, with digital media and marketing, I was more so focused on doing projects. So I was given projects that I needed to do, that needed to be either accomplished that day or that week, but there would always be a deadline. So most days, if I needed help doing anything, whether it goes to those projects, I would actually look at the prompt. as to what I was given for the day. And then I would go into the platform that you said, and they would always have courses that would be specific to almost anything. So I'd look at the prompt and say, I need to revamp the WordPress website today. And I know nothing about WordPress. So I would go in and spend an hour. I would always spend an hour a day focusing on what I needed to do that day. So with the WordPress, I would go in and focus on the WordPress course. And then when I would finish that WordPress course, of course, my supervisor would get a notification that I finished the WordPress course. Then I would use what I learned to help me with finishing the project that I would do that day. Yeah, but then if I needed more help, because I had Build Within and they do have an online platform, what you can do is send in basically like a question to one of your Build Within mentors, and they can guide you and help you, whether it's on a one-to-one visual chat that can help me do better in the WordPress and like figure out what the actual problem is and where I'm stuck. So I would do that, and then I would get into actually doing the revamp of what I needed to do that day. So that was like, yes.
So that's, can I
Yes,
say, like,
please.
that is something that is very cool and innovative, that with apprenticeships in the past, right, you would be doing coursework in a classroom somewhere, and then you would go on the job, like you'd go back to work, but there was no guarantee that what you were learning in a classroom would apply directly to what you were doing like that week, that month, that day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you may be taking a course on something that you wouldn't be able to apply on the job until like
Like a
6
month
months
later.
from now, yeah. And so that is, I think, will be a game changer for apprentices to be able to say, here's what I need to learn right now, and being able to move around your learning objectives.
Right, and with that platform too, say there's courses that are on there that, or say there was a problem that I needed help with and that course was not on the platform, I can just let the Build Within mentors or my supervisor know, and they can just add that course on there for me because I need help with that, and that's what would help me with my career
Oh, wow,
currently.
that's awesome.
So fluid and flexible.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's great. Thank you. But what I hear that's different maybe from to your point, Christina, from some of our traditional education models is like real time in the moment. What do I need to know now? And I'm developing that skill and then using it immediately.
Exactly.
Great. So Christina, some companies make hiring locally a priority, like we heard Taylor at DAW talk about earlier this week, when it comes to recruiting new team members. Is there a specific type of job or skill set that our local employers have been struggling to find within the local talent pool? I know you talked to a lot of them. And then if you think about that, can you highlight a role within the apprenticeship works, these new roles that we have, that you think would help address the workforce challenge locally?
So I'm going to try and move around your question and talk about, is that I would say, like, right now employers are saying everything's a problem, right? Is that just talent in general is tough to find and to keep. And I would say one of the cool pieces of Build Within is that within all of the apprenticeship roles, they can add in those work ready or soft skills pieces. And so being able to address that, because I think that's what you hear most frequently from employers is the soft skills, the work readiness skills, and that Build Within has the capacity to include that into every single role.
Right, because like I don't know what it looks like for your role, but there is a pre-assessment and job readiness piece, and an apprentice has to hit those benchmarks to actually get started.
And then to finish, for you to graduate, you need to finish all of your RTIs, all of your online coursework to even.
Great, thank you. Okay, so, and you and I talked about this a little bit earlier, so I appreciated your insight. You know, what would you want people to know about apprenticeships? And one of the things I'd love for you to comment on is something you shared with me earlier, which is the support system that you have. So would you talk about what you want people to know about apprenticeship, but also reference
that's
that's the big thing?
Yeah, I'm like, that's
Okay.
like the main thing is that you're not alone, you're not by yourself. I feel like with like a traditional job or anything like that, when you go into that job, usually sometimes you don't know what you're doing, or you're afraid to ask questions, or your employer automatically assumes, well, hey, you said you know this, so just do it. Like, yes, I do know it, but I need a little bit more guidance, or I need a little bit more help. With being an apprentice and having like the Build Within, the apprentice work background with you, you're not alone. Like, whatever you need help with, whatever you need guidance with, they are there to help you. And not just with your career, but with your life in general. Like, even with me being here and talking in front of a lot of people, I don't like public speaking, but one of my mentors guided me and was telling me like, hey, like, it's okay Just talk, just be you, like it's fine. Or if I had a problem where I was feeling overwhelmed at work, she was telling me, this is how you speak up. This is how you get what you want, and this is how you can go about it professionally. So they guide you not only with your career, but as a professional individual as well.
Thank you. So this one's for both of you, but I'll start with you, Christina. What would you say to companies or managers who may hesitate to take on an apprentice or start an apprenticeship program?
I mean, I think I would tell them to talk to Walton Robinson. So I would say talk to our local director of Build Within here in Chattanooga. I would introduce them to other employers that are already doing it to hear about what the different benefits are and why you see employers continuing to invest in apprenticeship programs and the model. I also would say, like, you're going to have to hire people, right? And so would you rather have people that are trained to your way of working, right? Or be hiring people that are coming without any guarantee of what their skill set is, right? So I think being able to invest upfront on your talent and have that assurance of what skill set they're going to have just seems a lot safer and smarter, period. Yeah.
Is there anything you would add for employers or companies?
I think you hit majority of the mark. Is basically, I'm gonna say it in a little easy way for most people to know. But you get to build your own employee in a way. You get to build the perfect employee that fits for your company. You're not untraining different types of skills or traits or attitudes that some people might already have. You know, when you go into a job, you say, well, I did this at my last job, or I did this, or I did that. Versus having an apprentice, they don't know it. They don't know. So you're guiding them in the way that fits you and fits your career and your job and what you need to be more successful.
I would also encourage them to look at the costs that what are they already spending on working with recruiters? So if they're already working with third-party groups to recruit, what are they spending there? What are they spending to relocate talent, signing bonuses, and then cost of turnover, right? So what is your current attrition rate? And then looking at how that number drops when you start a training program.
Right, especially because the government is giving a lot of grants now to companies, whether they're small or large. So in a way, you're not losing any money, you're gaining more money as well. Yeah.
Just a last broad question. Anything that we haven't talked about that you would love for people to know about apprenticeship and the journey of apprentices? Anything you would say to people who are considering being an apprentice and reaching out, and they can, we can help direct them to those opportunities in our local community. But anything we haven't covered you'd love for people to know?
I think most people should know that it doesn't matter how old you are. You could be younger, you could be older. Being an apprentice doesn't have to do with age. It just has to do with your motivation and like your goals and whatever you want to do, and you're pushing yourself to be someone different or something different, whatever you'd like. And I would like to also encourage people that you don't have to be stuck in the career field that you're in now. You can always take up the apprenticeship, and that will always teach you new skills. It'll guide you without you losing any money in the process. And say you go through that apprenticeship and you decide, hey, this is not for me, you can always do another one. You're not stuck. You're not by yourself.
Love that. Yeah. Thank you. What about you, Christina? What would you like people to know we haven't covered?
I would say, and you hit on this earlier, but thinking like the apprenticeship model is well established. I think we're not talking about a new concept, a new program, right? But what we're talking about today with Build Within, with Apprenticeship Works, is taking apprenticeships and looking at how they fit into new tech roles. Did I get that term right? Yeah. Okay, I got it right.
Yeah, innovative roles. There's more than just tech, but yeah, you're
so
on
looking at these tech-based roles and really starting to think about, like, those are skilled trades, right? And so that they can apply to new industries beyond what we've thought about in the past. And I think like you're a really great example of like the apprenticeship model worked in like an industry I never would have thought about, right, for an apprenticeship. So.
Yeah. So, and just to add on a little bit to what you're saying, when we were named an Apprenticeship Innovation District, we inherited these 19 new apprenticeable roles, which to your point are very innovative. Some are in tech, there's customer service, there's others, but we can add our own that meet the needs of our community. And as the other 4 jurisdictions add roles, we get access to those too. So there's more headed our way in renewable energy and other sectors. So if a business looks at the list right now, it doesn't mean that there's not a role that can be apprenticed, and we're happy to talk with them about that and so forth. And you can find out more about this at www.apprenticeships.works, and there's information there both for people who are considering being apprentices and for employers. And so that launched on Monday, so we're excited to have that. And also, I'll just mention, we're talking mostly today about innovative apprenticeship roles, but that's also a catalog of all of the apprenticeship roles. So through the IBEW and the pipe fitter, some of those more traditional roles, and Chattanooga State's programming. I mean, we think that this is a comprehensive strategy in workforce. So just want to call out all of that's on the website, so it can be a one-stop shop. Okay. Thank you for joining today. Please reach out through Apprenticeship Works. If you have any questions, you can email info@apprenticeship.works. Thank you.